Right, so here we are on the bench with a variety of bits and pieces to be done today. What we've got here is some hubs. They're all nicely done. They've all been painted, ready to go. No snap bolts as far as I could see. They're okay. They've already got the original bearings, races, the outer races in here. I wish they'd just kept the bearings because they're really good condition. I would have used them again. Same with the swivel balls. I've got new swivel balls. Well, not new swivel balls, but they've got new parts for the swivels here. New bearings, but like I said, they haven't got the old ones. These are the coated swivels, and you can see there that there's hardly any wear on these at all. These are quite good. These are a lot better than the chrome ones, but it is a later vehicle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knock out these. Now it's just a shame really that, like I said, they haven't got the inner bearings. I don't know where they are, but like I said, I would use these again. But when you've got bearings like this, and you know what I do is I just cut them. I cut about well, I don't know, maybe a 4 or 5 millimeter groove in these, and I use them on my press to press the new ones back in of all different sizes. And the same with the inners. I cut the rollers off and cut a slot in here so that when you're going to push, use it as a guide to push bearings onto shafts, for example, on the stub axles, whatever you want to do. I say stub axles, but you know, like onto a shaft. You can use these to press squarely, and then because they've got a split in them, they'll just pull straight off. So I keep them for that reason. Cheap, eh? But at least you know they're going to be the right diameter to push in. The last thing you want to do when you push a bearing in is to get the tool that you're pushing it in stuck in the hole. Not good. Right, let's get on with that. If you're having to get the bearings out of these hubs, all 4 hubs, knock out this front one first, like this, look, and use a nice size punch and also a hammer. And don't strangle the hammer going tapping like that, like a girl. Just get hold of it here and give it some big licks. Well, sort of big licks. Because you see, the front bearing doesn't go in as deep, and do it evenly. There, oh, that's it. They are a bugger to get out. There you go. Now, once you've got that out, you throw that in the bin because it's no good, because we've already got plenty. You remember when I was saying about using a bearing? Slip it down inside there and push the other one out, because the front one doesn't go in as deep as the back one. The back one seems to be a little bit problematic. Or you can do it vice versa, it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, you don't really want to press like the front one down like this, because you can press the studs out. Once you've got your bearings out, what I like to do is put one of these sanding discs on here, these flat sanding discs. This is a little 120 disc. This little kit comes from Amazon. They're really cheap, but they're really good, because then you can clean up the seat inside so that there's no burrs on there from when you've been punching, because if not, the bearing can go cockeyed, and that's not a good thing. Right, let me get on with that. Right, the next top tip, especially with old hubs, is check if there isn't a broken stud at the bottom. It may sound stupid, but you can see how deep these go, and if somebody snapped off a bolt down there, then you've got to take it all apart again and do it again, because if you machine it out, it's going to be problems. So just check them. Also, at the same time, run an airline down these and make sure there's no dirt at the bottom. It's a simple little thing like this that sort of makes your job easy. Look, it takes just a few seconds but you don't know what's down there. Oh. Oh no, it's just a bit of Loctite. So seeing there's Loctite in there, I think our next step before we put the bearings is I'm going to run a tap down them and clear it all out. It's a good idea to clean them out. Look at the dirt coming out of there. That one's not too bad. This is a number 2 tap. Don't snap the tap off. See? Look at all that poo. Not good. Right, now the hubs are clean. It's time to fit our bearings. Don't take the bearing out the box until it's time to go. Now, a lot of people think these bearings are all ground together. They're not, they're just thrown together. That's why you put preload on them and then they'll wear in. So we're going to take the race out here, put it in the box. Rollers. We're going to do that for each and every one. Doesn't matter. They'll bed in. They'll be fine. So we want 2 for that one. I might as well leave that in the plastic bag. And we'll keep on doing that. Now perhaps you could see why I tap these out first. Do all the dirty jobs first, like the grinding out of the seats, tapping the holes out before you put your bearings in, because this is where we've got to be nice and clean. Now we're going to press them in. Use it. This is a brilliant tool. This is for getting General Motors hubs off. It's power build 648477. It is a perfect fit for the bearings, and it's a flat surface here for my press. Now, I know a lot of you haven't got presses. Why not? Go and get one. Even if you've got a hand press, the idea is to get a bearing in nice and square. You don't want it tipping over, you want it going square. Now again, something like this is really useful, even if you have to hammer them in, because you've got a nice surface area on there to hammer. I wouldn't recommend doing them with a punch, because you can tip them over and you think they're down but they're not. There could be a millimetre or half millimetre cockeyed. I've found from experience bearing failures 99% is due to bad fitting. Don't get into that habit. Just do it like that and it's easy. Like I say, I know a lot of you haven't got access to bits and pieces like that, but even if you could find a great big washer, you know, that'll fit nice and snug, and then just tap the washer down, not the bearing, because they're so easy to cockeye, you know, get cockeyed, even very slightly, but it'll ruin your day. So let's get these pressed in. I thought we'd come across to the press and show you how you press bearings in. It's easy really. A couple of little things you have to know. You notice down here I've got a gear. It's an old gear off a Land Rover gearbox, but you don't want to press your bearings in on the stud like that. You want to put it on something to support it, because otherwise you might press the studs out. I know you might not, but it's a risk, isn't it? So we take our bearing, obviously put it cone side out, like that. Take our little till, push it down, crank it up. Job done. Let it come up, take this away, back to one side, do this, do this, do this. Get it as square as you can to start off with. That's it. If you're doing a lot of Land Rovers, these a press, even if you've got a winky wanky one, is worth its weight in gold. Right, the next thing we're going to do is grease up the bearings. That's not too difficult, and we're going to grease them all at once down here. And then we're going to fit the seals. Now before I get all blathered in grease, this is my seal fitting tool. It looks familiar because it is familiar. It's a flange of a Land Rover. And when people have been putting these fancy ones on, I've got in here at the moment, but you know, these fancy thick ones, heavy duty, that's not really heavy duty. What you do is this. JP makes them for me. Clench it round here in the lathe, turn this bit down so it's parallel, swap it over, and then you're going to machine this down so this face here is 4mm from here. See? 4mm, 4mm. And then when you put your seal in like that, because it fits perfectly inside there, alright, that's the depth it should go to, because if you look very carefully on them, it says to depth of 4mm. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to grease up these bearings. I've made sure my hands are clean, cleanish, and then we're going to put them on. If you can hear behind me, I've got the bloody heater on. I've got the electric heater on because it's freezing. I'm not putting my wood pellet stove on today. Man, it's been cold here. May's been the worst month I've ever known. It's just been freezing. I've had 6 inches rain in 10 days. I was thinking, I think I'm turning into an amphibian. Bearing. Grease. Get as much in as you can and use your palm to press it into the rollers from both sides. Get them preloaded. Right? And this is why we're going to do them all at once, because otherwise it's, if you're having to stop and start, you know, go on to the next one, you're going to be all cacked up with grease. So let's get the grease jobs out the way first, and then it's just a matter of putting them in and tapping the seal in. So that's that one done. Now we're just going to put it like that, look. The reason is I haven't put any grease on the inside, so I'm going to get on with all the rest, then we'll come back. Right, now that we've got the bearings sort of cleaned up, what we're going to do is put them on a nice piece of paper towel down here, just 4 of them, because we don't need them all yet. We're going to fit the rear ones first, but first of all, before we do that, we have to get clarty again, hence that's why we want a lot of paper towel. Because before we fit them, we've got to put grease inside these hubs as well. Now a lot of people can screw this up by overfilling these. 75% is your sort of maximum. Don't want any more than that. We can put some more in from the front. There. Same with this one. Make sure the races are all covered. Like that. How are you doing? There we go. Like I said, we can always go from the front, and then we'll do this last one here. That's nicely greased up. Don't overfill, but don't underfill. Next thing we're going to do is our seals. Again, we're going to, even though it's factory greased, you never know. Some of these cheapy Chinese ones you get, there's no grease on them. We're going to put some grease on them, get them ready to go. Grease. Grease. Now a lot of people say, oh Mike, what are you doing putting red grease on? Isn't that for hydraulics? You know, like, no it isn't. This is bearing grease. It's proper bearing grease. Made in Quebec. Yes, we do make things here apart from maple syrup. Put some all in there. Get it all in. It doesn't take long to do, it's just one of them messy, mucky jobs. I mean, if you want to put gloves on, you can do, but the thing is I don't like about gloves is, when you're doing things like this, if you're tapping a bearing in, you can get a bit of glove in there and that's it, you're finished, aren't you? So, let's have a clean up. We'll use this tool-o-matic to put this side in. Now we can do this without a spacer at the bottom because it's not much force to put these in. So take your bearing, take your seal, put it on the tool-o-matic, line it up, big hammer. Perfect. Do that for them all. In there, line it up. Easy, isn't it?